It's been one of the most annoying pieces of news in recent memory. Not because the news itself has been annoying to me, but because I've literally had, and I'm not even bullshitting you guys, I've literally had anywhere from 25 to 30 people ask me on the day of if I saw and if I heard of the news that Venado Lopez is signing a Probox. Yes, I did. To everybody who asked me when they did, I heard about it before you did. All right. The reason why everybody kept reaching out to me was because they said, "Oh well, BT, is there going to be a Angelo Leo rematch with Venado Lopez?" So we'll discuss all that more later on in the video. But yeah, this is my reaction video to the news that former IBF featherweight champion of the world and one of the hardest hitters, in and around those weight classes, one of the most unorthodox and athletic fighters there is, Venado Lopez, at this stage of his career, at the age of now 32 years old, he has signed a promotional contract with Probox TV in hopes of rebuilding his career. So let's talk about it, because ever since that fateful night of August 10th, 2024, when Angelo Leo knocked Venado Lopez out in devastating fashion, gave him a brain bleed, he has not been in a significant fight. Now, that's not to say that he hasn't fought. He's fought 2 times. He's had two kind of like little comeback fights in Mexico, 2 stoppage victories. Neither fight went over 3 rounds. But he hasn't really been in a fight against a known name since then. Now, that hasn't really, to Venado's credit, that hasn't been completely his fault. He's been willing to fight. Last year, in and around this time, they were trying to make the fight with him and Rafael Espinoza. And Rafael Espinoza did not want to fight Venado Lopez. He decided to go another direction. He fought Arnold Guy, and Venado Lopez was very adamant about that fight. And even recently, before Bruce Carrington finalized his fight with the previously unbeaten Rene Palacios, they were trying to make Bruce Carrington versus Venado Lopez, and Bruce Carrington and his team decided to go another direction, and they fought a young undefeated guy. So I won't slag Bruce Carrington off too much for that, but it was a possibility at one point. You understand? So with that being said, Venado Lopez has been willing to fight these guys. They haven't been willing to fight him. Now, the reason that everybody kept messaging me was because they know I'm cool with Angelo Leo and things like that, part of the team and whatnot. They wanted to know, will there be an Angelo Leo rematch? Now, look, I haven't spoken to Angelo probably in a week. I haven't spoken to Miguel Leo in 10 days. Been doing my own thing recently. I haven't really talked to them like that. But if I had to take an educated guess, I'd probably say no. There won't be a Venado Lopez rematch, because number one, rematches are for controversial fights or fights where the outcome is in question. And as we all know, there is no question as to how that fight ended with Venado Lopez and Angelo Leo. Venado Lopez literally had a brain bleed, right? Got knocked out. He hasn't beaten anybody since then, and it really just comes down to as well, will Probox TV put up the money for a Venado Lopez fight? I mean, I don't know. I don't believe they will. Nothing about how they've handled Angelo since he won that belt tells me that they would actually put the money up for a rematch where both guys are going to command good money. So yeah, just honestly, no, I don't. And not even just that, in fairness to Angelo, in fairness to Bruce Carrington and Espinoza, Venado has not fought at the featherweight limit since he fought Angelo, and that was August 10th of 2024. It's July 17th as I'm shooting this video. So we're talking about more than 11 months since he last fought at the featherweight limit. And it wasn't always an easy weight cut for him. So I'm sure maybe he got a nutritionist. Maybe he got a nutritionist that can make the weight, but I have a hard time believing that he could healthily make the featherweight limit at the age of 32 here in 2026. So if you look at Venado Lopez right now, he's not even ranked at featherweight. He's not ranked at featherweight in a top 15 of any sanctioning organization. The only 2 places he's ranked are right now is currently number 11 in the IBF and number 6 in the WBO super featherweight ranking. So not 126, but 130. So really, more so than Espinoza, more so than Bruce, more so than an Angelo rematch. Really and truthfully, we got to talk about Venado versus some other guys like Emmanuel Navarrete. Vaquero versus Venado would be a massive fight. It's obviously 2 Mexican warriors, so that's a very marketable fight if they can get it done. If not that fight, I mean, look at Venado versus probably a guy like former champion Eduardo Sugar Nunez. That's a big fight. Venado Lopez versus Henry Leron. Venado Lopez versus Hayato Tsutsumi or Yamato Hata in a Japan versus Mexico type situation. You know, those are the kind of fights I feel like you should be talking about with Venado Lopez. Venado Lopez versus Masanori Rikishi. Venado Lopez versus the winner of Liam Wilson, Stephen Fulton. You know, those are good fights for him. You know, Venado Lopez versus Anthony Kakachi if they can get it done, even though he's not ranked in the WBA. You know, he made a career knocking out Brits. So what's another one, right? So those are actually all fights I feel are more realistic than any of the names at featherweight. Now, of course, if Venado can squeeze on the featherweight, then why not? You know, he makes the division better. He's must-see TV. He's fun to watch. But I don't believe he can make featherweight healthily, and he hasn't fought there in 2 years. So, and he's not even ranked there. He's ranked at 130. So, shout out to Venado. You know, it's not a surprise to me because I know that Ferco, his manager, Hector Ferco, he's a guy that does a lot of business with Probox, and Ferco knows Daniel Rubin and Gary Jonas very well, and vice versa. So it ain't the most surprising signing in the world. You know, we're in an era now where you know, Top Rank isn't the Top Rank of old. So, and they've cut a lot of fighters, so I don't think Top Rank is trying to really promote Venado too much after he got knocked out by Angelo. You know, is Matchroom Boxing going to roll the dice on a Venado? Probably not. It's really his best bet in pathway to becoming a world champion, and we've seen it. It's funny how the tables have turned, because Venado kind of finds himself in a similar situation that Angelo was in at one point when you know, he was coming off of a tough loss to Stephen Fulton, albeit it wasn't a knockout loss. Tough loss. Stephen Fulton had a hard time getting his career started back up, and went the Probox route, became world champion. So it has been done, and it can be done. And Venado Lopez, like I said, he's a true champion. He's a guy that, you know, a lot of people will downplay him and say, well, he does so many things technically wrong. He was bound to get knocked out at some point, but no, absolutely not. Because Venado Lopez does so many things technically wrong, and he's so unorthodox, and he hits really hard, and he's very athletic, he's still a hard night to work for anybody. Now, is he damaged goods? We don't know. We shall see. We haven't really gotten an answer since the Angelo Leo fight, for honest. People are very quick to say that he's damaged goods, but I don't think you can accurately say what he is or what he isn't right now, because he hasn't been in a significant fight against a top 15 credible opponent since he lost to Angelo. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes, and I look forward to seeing what he's going to do at 130 pounds. If I could be the commissioner of boxing, I would like to see Venado Lopez fight Eduardo Sugar Nunez. I feel like that's a great crossroads fight. Both guys are coming off losses recently in their careers where they got obliterated. In Sugar Nunez's case, he got obliterated by Navarrete. In Venado's case, he got obliterated by Angelo Leo. It's a crossroads fight. It's two former Mexican world champions. Both can punch. Both are fan-friendly. If I'm Probox, if I'm Gary Jonas, if I'm Daniel Rubin, that's the route I'm going. That's the route I'm looking to make. That's a fight I'm looking to make in the 130-pound division. But, of course, there's other fights there as well. But, yeah, those are my thoughts on the Venado Lopez Probox signing. Y'all can give me your thoughts down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.